Hello. I believe we're live. Alright, we're getting ready to start the Hudson Valley Farmers and Gardeners Net. And no one's watching, so that's easy. Alright, 9:29 p.m. It is April 16th, 2019. Beautiful day today, 60s. A little bit of wind, some good sun, good drying weather. Oh, I guess I need the headlight. Hello. This is KD2IIN Net Control for the Hudson Valley Farmers and Gardeners Net. This net is sponsored by the Overlook Mountain Amateur Radio Club, located in Ulster County, New York. If you'd like to know more about our club, please visit our website at www.omarkclub.org. Alright, this net is the Hudson Valley Farmers and Gardeners Net. This is dedicated to Hudson Valley farmers and gardeners, a place to exchange information and share ideas and concepts and discuss growing practices, farming practices, etc. This net will break for any emergency or priority traffic, so please don't hold back in an emergency. And without further ado, we're going to get started. If there are any check-ins you'd like to call, please call now. Wah, 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 wah. What a big exciting net so far. So somebody's watching. Who's watching? Is that Geeky Gardens? Hey. This is KD2IIN Net Control for the Hudson Valley Farmers and Gardeners Net. Looking for check-ins. Any check-ins, please call now. Check-ins, check-ins.
KD2 RFI, Bob.
Hey, there we go. KD2 RFI, Bob. How are you tonight?
Doing good, doing real good. I was a little late to the party, and I didn't want to hear at the time.
Yeah, it seems to be a quiet night tonight, but that's alright. I'm glad you showed up. And how are the bees doing?
Bees are doing good. They're doing good. I opened them up this past weekend. Went through, added boxes, the ones that needed boxes and whatnot. Just gave a general overall look. I did find one more hive that did not make it over the winter. Evidently what I was seeing, which I didn't pay a real close attention to, there must have been a whole lot of robbing going on from their supplies over the winter. I mistook that for hive activity at a quick glance, so it did have one more loss that I wasn't aware of originally.
Alright, very good. Yeah, that kind of makes sense. And yeah, that makes me wonder, I have two other hives, a top bar and then like a new size hive, a little bit bigger, over on another farm. And I checked on that back in January or February, and The top bar hive looked pretty good. They actually had decent activity. The other hive looked kind of sparse, but I did see bees going in and out of it. Makes me wonder if they were just robbing from the top bar hive and snagging, whatever resources were left. I got to get back over there and take a look at those 2 hives. But I did open the tops of my 3 hives up here. Just wanted to get the insulation off and take a look in the inner cover. Tried out the new bee suit, kind of got familiar with that, and so that all went well. So that was kind of cool.
Yeah, I did see your video on YouTube. I checked it out. It looked pretty cool. It looked like you're handling everything pretty well. So it's a nice little setup you have there. Now, did you have concrete footings? Is that what you poured in? It looks like a little side slope there with the 3 highs on, I think it was 2x4s. And it looked like the foundation was a little concrete footed setup type deal.
No, nothing that sophisticated. Those are like big maple logs that I sawed down, and I was going to just set those 2x6s on those. But when I went to level it, it was tricky to level it, so then I just decided to screw and nail the 2x6s with a level set in place. So that's all it is. And I probably will move those. I found I'm setting up a better spot for an apiary, so I might move those later in the season or something. Yeah, so just maple logs and 2x6.
My apologies. I was thinking of wrong video. Somebody else had a similar setup. It looked like they had done 2x4s. It's kind of similar to what you did, but it was concrete foot. And
Nicer
yes,
job.
I do remember maple logs sitting underneath, about 3 or 4 of them underneath the hives. But still, as long as they're level, that's a pretty good deal. I know my apiary, I had poured concrete pads. I think it was like 2 80-pound bags of concrete for every pad. I made a frame up and roughly leveled it and whatnot, and it looked beautiful the first year I did it. Things are starting to settle, and I got a couple hives that are leaning the wrong way. I'm going to have to start shimming them up to get them a little more level here shortly. I'll probably do that this summer.
And this is KD2 and Control for the Hudson Valley Farmers and Gardeners Net. Yeah, I was going to say, well, that must look nice, but yeah, I could see settling and tilting and listing, so that's too bad. But yeah, you should be able to square it back up. Let's just take a pause here and see if there's any further check-ins. This is KD2 and Control for the Hudson Valley Farmers and Gardeners Net. If there are any further check-ins, please call now. No further check-ins recognized. Looks like it's going to be a quiet night again. Well, back to you, Bob.
Alright, TJ, KD2 RFI. I did go out. I think another thing I did this weekend is I mentioned that a friend of mine, she'd like to come over and do a garden. I had her come over just to eyeball property here and just give me an idea of what she wanted or what she was expecting. Obviously I'm going to reap a lot of the benefits of her garden on my property, obviously. So we kind of picked an area and guesstimated. I just kind of came up with 45 feet by 25 feet. And this weekend I'm going to square it up, make sure everything's good, go cut a bunch of cedar logs as boundaries. I got a lot of cedar in my woods. It's
soil for you next year. And yeah, it looks like you're right about on there. I think I came up with 1125 and 45 by 25, which is yeah, you know, basically a bag of gypsum will do that for you. And then you know, with all the chicken manure and chips, that soil will really build up nice and strong. By next year, you'll have a real good base for growing in.
Yeah, so everything's going together. Got a coworker. He actually raises goats for meat goats. I don't know varieties. I don't never even knew you could eat goats, but evidently he does. He's Jamaican, but he kind of runs a little farm as well, and we bounce a lot of ideas off each other. And he's kind of got me thinking now, like, you know, I got the land. I could probably use half a dozen goats or something. So I don't know. I don't know how big I want this to get going, but it's. I mean, any more livestock is definitely not this year. I'm at my manageable point right now, I think. So, but between the garden, the bees, and the chickens, it's going to be a lot of good product coming off of here. And I see a lot of barter in my future.
Awesome, awesome. Glad to hear you're a fan of the barter system as well. And yeah, goats are pretty cool. And yeah, I've only tried goat once. Funny you mentioned the Jamaican guy. I had a Jamaican neighbor on the other farm I lived at, and he kept goats, and he was actually the one who made me the first time I ever ate goats. It was like a goat stew, and it was, man, it was delicious. It was really good. And goat manure is an excellent fertilizer, a nice balance of NPK, and pretty strong. Amazing plant growth from goat manure. So if you can squeeze it in and make it manageable, yeah, I think that's a real good idea. Those ruminant animals have a whole nother like biological set that's part of their ruminant digestive tract that really helps accelerate soil health. And it kind of ties in with that principle of the digestive tract of the plant being the soil. So yeah, goats are a good one.
Well, that's you know, I never even thought about the manure aspect, but that is absolutely a great idea. I know talking with him about it, he says his biggest problem is maintenance of the hooves. He's always got to be filing them down. Unless I have a rocky area to put them. I do have a little cliff face off in the woods. I could actually clear a little area and fence it in off in the woods a bit and put a little shed at the bottom. I would have water supply coming in, you know, natural water from a little drainage coming through that never really dries up. I think the only problem I would have with that is big storms with flooding. But like I said, the little cliff, plenty of rocks for them to climb around on. It's almost tempting if I could find a decent area to keep them high and dry. It's not a heavy water flow, but it does get wet in there and there are real significant storms. But I don't know, I'd have to think about that with the amount of goat manure and everything else. I don't know if I'd want that beef running down through the creek. I'm not really sure where this little drainage stream goes.
Oh yeah, that's something you'd want to be careful about. Yeah, I'm not sure what to tell you without having seen the lay of the land there, but yeah, I mean, they definitely love like high rocky stuff. I know I've seen them. A couple other people I've run across over the years have had goats, and you know, they put out like Adirondack chairs and stack all kinds of like furniture up, and you come out in the afternoon and find the goats standing up on top of the furniture pile. So funny. They love to go to a high place like that. And the rocky area sounds good, and if you had a way to move them out of there during flooding times, that would be good. But yeah, there is the concern of the manure. Is there any way you can put some sort of I don't know, well, it sounds like if it floods heavily, you probably can't put some kind of a, you know, retainer or like silt dam or something.
Yeah, that might be feasible. Like I said, it doesn't come through there really fast. It's just a steady flow. So something like that that might not be too bad. I don't know. It's just, like I said, it wouldn't be this year, so it'd definitely be something to think about. And I know a lot of discussion about this type of stuff, especially new topics for me. Sometimes I just talk, and it's almost like thinking out loud and, prompting ideas from others. But like a silt dam or something like that might not be too bad. That might be something that's feasible. It kind of reminds me of the TV show, I think it's called Gold Rush, where they use some sieves to sort the gold, the heavier flakes, just catching the little grids or little ripples of their pans or their machines they use to filter out the gold. So I think something like that might even be feasible.
Yeah, sure, that would work. And yeah, I'm a big fan of brainstorms, especially on the air brainstorms. So many great ideas come out of these sort of discussions. Yeah, you could probably do some kind of a silt dam or some sort of catchment area. And then I don't know if you've seen Paul Stamets, The Future is Fungi. I think I've mentioned that to you before. But he talks about one of the mushrooms that he uses to clean up water. He inoculated these wood chips at the base of his property. He's got goats and chickens and all that kind of stuff. And in the town that he lives, they were revamping everyone's septic system and making them all come up to code. And they were going around and testing runoff water from different properties. And so they came back to him asking him how his water was so clean since he hadn't done his septic upgrade yet. And come to find out, it was the mushrooms that he had inoculated into the wood chip pile were actually sequestering all of the E. coli and all the bad bacteria. KD2IN.
That's pretty cool. You have mentioned the fungi in the past. Yeah, especially regarding the bees. But that's interesting that it would collect, or I don't know if it would collect the proper word. It would almost combat the E. coli and everything else, almost like a filter. Is what it sounds like. KD2R5.
KD2IN, net control for the Hudson Valley Farmers and Gardeners Net. And we'll do an opportunity for check-ins momentarily. Yes, and then so they went on to do more research regarding filtration using fungi, and they're actually using it to clean up oil spills and sequester bacterial load in streams and rivers and water runoff and all sorts of cool stuff. So yeah, it basically just sequesters the bacteria, I guess, or breaks them down and converts them to nutrients for the fungi. I'm not sure exactly the scientific process behind it, but they're super filters, and of course it's easy to populate mycelium with just a small inoculant, which is kind of cool.
That's just one of those other things where it's just amazing, and I'm kind of preaching here a little, I guess, but how you just turn to the natural world, and the answers are right in front of us, but it relies so heavily on science and man-made products. Sometimes we forget about the simplest of solutions.
So true, and so many of our chemicals and processes and antibiotics and all that kind of stuff come from, originally from natural sources and pharmaceuticals too. And then a lot of that stuff was isolated and synthesized, but the original stuff came from the natural system. And yeah, I think the more we study and mimic nature, the better off we're going to be, and the more harmony we're going to live with on the planet, I think, which is good for all who inhabit it.
You mentioned everyone on the planet and all inhabited, and well, sounding too far off base. what's your take on population sustainability as far as resources and using this type of approach with fungi? Is that something that you think is doable given the current population density?
Yeah, I do. Population, yeah. I mean, we definitely have massive population on this planet at this point. I think there's room for a lot more. Can we all happily cohabitate at that rate? I don't know. I'm not a city person, so I'm not a big fan of large groups of people all around. But I think if we live in harmony, more in harmony with nature, I think we can continue doing what we're doing. But if we continue on the path that we are, where we keep trying to like fight nature and stop things with chemicals and all, I think we're headed down a bad pathway. But I don't know. That's a broad scope of a conversation. Let me just take a pause here and see if there's any further check-ins. This is KD2 and Net Control for the Hudson Valley Farmers and Gardeners Net. Any further check-ins for the net, please call now. No further check-ins recognized at this time. So what's your perspective on it?
I'm 100% in agreement with you as far as large groups of people. Very rarely do I venture into the cities. I honestly, I don't even like going to Kingston to go shopping or dinner.
Me neither.
But I do it because other people want to do it. I don't think I'm informed enough to know what the breaking point is. I mean, I could watch the media, but it's all doom and gloom, and they want a big story, so they're going to tell you the apocalypse is coming, and that sort of thing, which obviously I don't really believe. I think gut feeling tells me we're near the breaking point. It's a shame. It's so beautiful here, and there's just so much to offer, and we just got to look at a smaller scale.
Yeah.
I don't know. That's a really hard one to answer. I don't think we're in real danger, but I think we're definitely becoming overpopulated, where the resources are going to be not in shape to support life as we know it, per se. I think life will always go on, whether we're here or whatever, but it's just the resources will change, and I think life will eventually adapt and change, whether it involves us or not. I really don't know. It won't be in my lifetime, or probably my grandkids' lifetime for that matter, but it's kind of interesting topic to explore. A lot of theories on it, a lot of different theories. But I guess as long as I got my little garden going and my chickens and my bees and my search and rescue dogs, I'll probably do all right.
Right. Yeah, I think that's the answer for all of us. I mean, this is a broad scope concept, but at the end of the day, you can only have influence over what you can touch, right? And so if we do our part and do as much sustainability and education with others as we can in our little corner of the planet here, maybe that's the best we can do for it. It is interesting. I know amongst that talk, Paul Stamets talks about how we're in the 6th major extinction, and we're losing more species every day. And so I don't know. I forget the numbers, but they're staggering about how many different species are just going off the planet forever. And yeah, it's frustrating to watch. I can hear the frustration in your voice as well about it. And yeah, I don't know if there's any great solutions, but I think educating people and getting people to see things from different perspectives is about the best we can do for now.
Well, KD2RFI. I think the education is definitely out there. I think there's a lot of information. A lot of people time we do it, it's just the same thing over and over. And you know, I tell you, some people do it absolutely intentionally. You find the same product container, the same location.
Yeah.
Just about every day, you know, they get that one location and discard it out the window. So it's definitely frustrating. Definitely frustrating. It's more than an education. It's a mindset, and it's a way of life. And become so dependent on somebody else who's going to do for us. And that's kind of what I like about having this little farm. And I don't even want to call it a farm. I don't even feel like it's a farm. But living the lifestyle I live, where I'm comfortable knowing I would struggle through a lot, and I definitely don't have the knowledge base on plants and soil as you, and that's why we come out here and share stuff. But I'm pretty confident I could survive on my own for quite a while if I needed to. It's a lot easier to say in the summer than it is in the winter, but it gets cold in the winter. Yeah, it's definitely, hopefully something I can encourage my children and my grandchildren to carry on in the future as well.
This is KD2 net control for the Hudson Valley Farmers and Gardeners Net. Yeah, I totally agree with you, and I feel the same way. I feel like I could survive, you know, a pretty long time. I mean, I'm not saying it would be easy. I try to grow as much of my own food as I can. I'm still not entirely there yet. Obviously, I don't know if anyone really can be, especially in the northern climates. It's a little harder to do that. But you know, to be self-reliant is so nice. You know, like when power goes out here, and I still have water flowing up from the ram pump, and I still have solar power in the greenhouse. It's like, yeah. So you know, if everything blows up, I can kind of hang on here.
Yeah, that's pretty good. I would definitely love to get canning in the future, and that's one of the things I've been thinking about. But again, you can't can until I got the garden, and once I get the garden up and running, that'll be pretty cool. You know, I imagine it'll probably be at some point. I think I'll be taking it over. Right now, I was just talking to the couple who, you know, his wife wants to come to the garden here, which is great. They're actually going to sell their house. They kind of live in the village, and he's kind of like me. He's like, I thought it would be nice. It's good for the kids. But man, I hate it. Everyone's right there. So they're going to be looking at selling their house and find a big piece of property in a little house, and kind of like I got going on. So that's pretty encouraging. I'm going to jump back to gardening a little bit. Kind of wandered off that with some of this other stuff, which is, you know, pretty cool. I like discussing that too. Now we had talked about laying down the cardboard after putting down the gypsum. How thick should the cardboard be? Should it just be a single layer, or, you know, like a double layer? I imagine no more than 3 at most. I don't want to make it too thick to impede the growth, and, you know, keep the grass from pushing up through and whatnot, while I recondition the soil. So is it just 1 or 2 layers, or what's your recommendation on that?
I usually only do 1 layer, but if you're going to let it sit for a year, and it sounds like you're going to put quite a bit of chicken manure on it, and you'll have a lot of organic matter present, it probably wouldn't hurt to do a double layer. That would give you a real solid barrier. And especially like overlap on those, you know, like the seams, like do your second layer overlap so the seams are offset from each other, and that should give you a real solid base. I don't think it would be bad to even do 3 layers, but that's probably more than is necessary. But that would give a tremendous amount of carbon available, and you'd be amazed how many earthworms come up into that cardboard. Once it gets soft and wet, and there's a good layer of mulch on top of it, it's amazing. You dig in there with a shovel, and there's just hundreds of earthworms everywhere. So, but I would say 2 layers probably wouldn't hurt. You know, better a little extra than shy, and you have weeds coming through. There's nothing more frustrating.
All right, yeah, copy 2 layers. I also got a whole pile of, I go to my mother's and she lives in the village. I pick up her grass clippings for her and her neighbors. They put them in barrels. I've been throwing them out back in a pile, and it's breaking out beautiful. So I'll also be bringing that up front and putting that on top of it as well. So I already have some conditioned soil to start off with. So hopefully it'll be a real nice mixture by the time I get up and going this time next year. Hopefully we'll be planting something, maybe starting some tomatoes inside or whatnot. I don't know, we'll see how big this gets. It'll be pretty neat, especially if we can start feeding 2 families out of it. It's going to be pretty significant, I'd imagine. I don't know if I ever told you, growing up, my father had 4 gardens at one point, 20 foot wide by had to be every bit of 60 foot long. They were really long, and they were tiered into the side of a hill with stone walls that my parents had built. So that was pretty neat. They would actually tier property, put the stone walls up, and they pretty much we had an entire room full of canned vegetables and such that we ate out of on a constant basis.
That's awesome. Wow, 4 gardens. Yeah, that's quite a bit to keep up with. And yeah, I like the tiered stone wall effect. I often find myself looking at this property here. It's got this nice long sloping hill. You can do all kinds of nice terraces and you know, waterways coming down through it from the ram pump and stuff. But it's a lot of excavation and stuff. It makes me wish I owned this property, at least on that front. Certainly not on the taxpayer front.
KD2RFI. Yeah, I actually used to live in Ulster County, so I definitely understand the taxpayer front. I made out well going just a few miles north. So, but another design I'm hoping to implement when this gets kicked off is a rainwater collection system. I'm thinking about a 500-gallon tank buried, and then run a water line down towards the garden, just for nothing else other than, you know, watering the plants. I don't think that would take too much work. 500 gallon, I think I would fill up really quick. I don't think it would take long to fill that up at all. Rainstorms. And then put a, I forget what it's called. It's like where the moisture weeps out of the hose, and it's just constantly leaving it moist even during the dry season.
Yep, kind of like a drip line setup. Yeah, no, that's a great idea, and I actually want to add rainwater collection to my my big reservoir for the ram pump. It's a 4,400 gallon swimming pool, and so I can fill that in about 3.5 days with the ram pump. But those drought seasons, it would be nice to capture those occasional rainfalls and top that up quick. But I just haven't gotten around to getting the gutter and the piping and all the pieces together. But yeah, it's not too hard to do, and yeah, 500 gallon tank. You're probably going to have to do something like a septic tank or something like that, maybe for that. But I know you can get 275 gallon totes, and they weren't too bad. I think the one that I got for the greenhouse was 140 or something like that. And I can give you that guy's contact information too if you need it.
All right. Well, I'll probably hit you up for that when it gets closer. But yeah, I don't want to install something like that until I get the garden in. And then, unfortunately, from where my house is and where the garden would be, I would have to cut a line through the excuse me. I have to cut a line through the driveway, which is going to definitely take some work. I'm not sure how deep the ledge is underneath my driveway, so that might be interesting. I might have to put a steel pipe or casing on surrounding the line to make sure it doesn't get punctured or crushed. So, but yeah, I mean, even if I did two 275s, I mean, there's my 500 plus, so that'd be good. I just think that'd be a nice reserve for water if it's needed. And you know, worst case scenario, you can use it for other things too.
Yeah, I usually do firewood in the fall when it gets cool again. I don't know how people do it when it's 90 plus degrees out. But we've had decent weather for it lately, and actually I was doing some cutting today, clean up on another property for a guy. But well, you know, at least it's been nice working weather for it. But yeah, I'm getting stoked about the season too. It's nice to see the green coming down the lawn, you know, and the grass everywhere. But at the same time, I'm also like, uh-oh, that's another thing to keep up with now.
Yeah, my goal on firewood is to get a 2-year supply in this year. I've been doing it year by year, but I always find myself rushing, and every once in a while the wood's not quite as dry as I would like it to be. So I'm just really doing a push this year to try and bring in a 2-year supply, so I don't have to sweat it year after year or worry about the wood being dry when it comes time to cut. One other note I just want to mention. I did go across the river today to Columbia Green College and took another test, and I'm now quote-unquote an extra class operator, which is, you know, pretty cool. I'm a little excited about that. So I'm not going to change my call sign though. I think the RFI is quite fitting, and I would hate to give that up for I really didn't want, you know, so it's neat. Now I just got to buy more equipment, I guess, to get up in those ranges, or down in those ranges, I should say.
Absolutely. Well, congratulations on passing the extra. That's awesome. And yeah, it's really a lot of fun to go out there with the full extra license and have all bands, all modes available to you. You don't have to worry about whether you're outside of your operating zone, which is awesome. And oh, what else was I going to say? Something else about that. I don't know. I lost my train of thought. I hate when that happens. But anyway, congratulations. That's fantastic, and I'll bet you're excited.
Yeah, I am a little bit. It's kind of, the letdown is I don't have the equipment to run on the those upper bands, 80-meter bands, or, you know, even a 10-meter band at this point. But yeah, it's like anything else. You build slowly. I just wanted to push in as high as I could go in a short period of time as I could go. I knew once I stopped, it would be that much harder to get rebooted and get back into it. I wanted to keep everything fresh. And I think the only other big thing I got going on is my tractor is actually paid for. So now all the repair costs are totally mine, you know, as well as the tractor. So I think I'm more excited about not having that payment looming over my head every month as everything else going on. So, but it's pretty cool. It's never in my lifetime I think I was going to actually own a tractor before, but, you know, here I am.
That's me too. Congratulations on paying the tractor off. Yeah, I bet that feels really good. I picked up a used Massey Ferguson 3165 back in the fall. It's a 42 horsepower, 4-cylinder Perkins. Pretty large machine with a front end loader and a backhoe on it. So I got that really cheap, but it needs a lot of little nicks and knacks and things, some new hydraulic lines, and there's a broken swing piston on it and stuff. So I'm going through the process of fixing that, and I'll be glad when I get done paying those bills off myself. But yeah, I can totally understand and relate to never thinking you'd actually have a tractor. It's a great tool to have, especially on a farm operation. So that's awesome. And the other thing that I couldn't remember that I was going to say before was, yeah, I've been meaning to comment on what an awesome call KD2 RFI is. So I would definitely stick with that also. You might be able to get, I don't know if it's available or not, but you might be able to drop the D and go to K2 RFI if you have any interest. But yeah, I chose to just keep my call sign too. I looked to see if I could get K2 IIN, but it's already in use, so it's a no-go for now. Yeah, no, I've been checking the other call signs too, and everything I've seen out there is. Hey, Joey.
You know, that drew an interest in me. It's pretty
Going
much
okay. How about you?
recently renewed within the last couple of years, so it'll be a long time before it becomes available. So, but you know, it's like anything, like car shopping, I guess. You really can't be in a hurry just to run out and grab it.
Yep.
You gotta bide your time, and something will come along. And until then, like I said, I'm perfectly good with this one. It's, you know, make people wonder. I guess.
Yeah.
I don't know if it's actually true or not. I haven't gotten into those upper bands yet, but I've heard a lot of stories of people taking different tones, and you're only a technician or whatnot. But I mean, to me, it doesn't really matter because, quite honestly, I have the extra class that'll be coming in the mail soon, but I'm still technically only a technician, just in the infancy stages of this hobby. So I got a lot to learn at this point.
Well, that's true. That's true. And yeah, it's a mix in those bands. I've had everything from very welcoming people to, hey, you don't belong in this part of the band. You're not an extra, and you know, followed by, yeah, go look my call up. I am an extra. And I guess the upside of not having the radio equipment is you don't have to mess around with the KD2 RFI stroke AE, which gets really old on the HF bands.
Yeah, no, it keeps it simple. No matter where I go on a 2 meter, I think I'm pretty good. But, all right, well, anyway, CJ, I think I'm going to call it in for the night. I'm going to get up, get settled in. I'm going to have a long day of firewood tomorrow. I go help my mother out tomorrow, too. Her birthday today, but I did give her a call, so, I mean, don't hold it against me. I called her. But I got to get around and get her dinner tomorrow night because, like I said, so much going on this week. It's been one of those weeks that's just nonstop. So
Yeah.
I think everyone, this is a busy season with the season changing and everything else. So, but no, I appreciate it. I look forward to seeing you next week. I'm going to be on again. What is it, Thursday night? I think is the next net that's going to be up and running. So I'll be back on again Thursday night. If you're there, I'll talk to you then.
All right, sounds good, Bob. Thanks for participating in the net, and good to catch up with you. And yeah, I won't hold it against you. I'm sure you'll take care of Mom. And I hear you. Yeah, this time of year is just crazy. I just feel like a gerbil on a wheel. Anyway, glad you made it to the net. I will try and catch you Thursday night, and if not, hopefully I'll see you Tuesday night on the net. Anyways, appreciate your support for the net. I'll say 7 threes. This is KD2IIN, net control for Hudson Valley Farmers and Gardeners net. This net is sponsored by the Overlook Mountain Amateur Radio Club, located in beautiful Ulster County, New York. Please visit our website for more information about our club and about our nets at www.omarkclub.org. That's whiskey, whiskey, whiskey. Oscar, Mike, Alpha, Romeo, Charlie, Charlie, Lima, Uniform, Bravo, Oscar, Romeo, Golf. Thanks to all those who participated. This is KD2IIN saying 7-3 and inviting you to join us again next week. Please be advised, we also have a net on Thursday nights. That's at 8 p.m. and usually run by K2JLV, except for the third Thursday of the month when we have our meetings. If you want to know more about our meetings, please also visit our website. This has been a session of the Hudson Valley Farmers and Gardeners net, and this repeater is back under regular amateur use, and the net is officially closed.
KD2 RFI, I'll be clear, 7-3. Have a good night.
Alright, 7 threes, Bob. You too. KD2IN is also clear. How's it going, Joey? Gonna watch a movie? What movie are you gonna watch? Haven't decided yet. How's things going with the track loader? You clearing away over there? bet you've been busy with that machine. That's a nice machine. Real nice having the tracks, man. You almost can't get stuck with that. Of course, if you do, you're really buried. Yeah, I hear you. That's a good way to just relax. Kind of take your mind off everything. I could use a big dinner and a movie night in myself. I'm not going to get one anytime soon, I don't think. Oh, you haven't. That's right. Your property is. How far is your property from your place? Oh yeah, it poured here over the weekend. Poured. And then we had crazy winds Sunday into Monday. 3.5 hours. Oh wow, that's a long ride. That's about the same as it is from here to Lake George. Wow, it's a long ride. It's a long round trip. So 7 hours total drive time to go there and back, huh? I didn't realize it was that far away. Now you guys are going to move there eventually, is that right? Like you're going to build and move there? You retire there, yeah, okay. Yeah, away from the city, I hear that. Yeah, so that probably gave you a much better property price than you would have had closer to you, right? That's the problem around here. We got to go a couple of hours away to find land for any kind of reasonable price. Or, you know, anything that's away from people enough to be away from people. I mean, we're fairly rural right here, but literally like 10 minutes away I can be in the city of Kingston shopping at Walmart. Not that I shop at Walmart, but yeah, 6 hours, that's a long drive. 3.5 is a long drive. I mean, you know, you'll get used to it, it'll go quicker as you get used to it, but it's a long stretch to travel. Are you planning on going up like for longer during the summer? Or, well, you don't have much because you do landscaping, right? So you're really busy in the summer, right? So it'd be hard to get away, I imagine. One weekend a month, okay. Hey, Mimsy, what's going on? Did you bring any Budweiser and slugs with you? You've been drinking in the greenhouse again, Mimsy. Hanging with your thugs. How's things going down there, man? Are you guys getting some good weather, I hope? Did you get the slugs under control? You did, right? The Slugwiser worked, right? Only a slug would want to drink that stuff. Yeah, consistent use. Just keep trapping them out, basically. Has it reduced the slug damage on your plants? Okay, take care, my slice of heaven. Good to see you. Thanks for coming in. Have a good night, man. I think I'm going to have to jump out for work here anyway. Oh, God, it just never ends. Putting up trellises, planting, cutting grasses. It is resolving the damages. Good, good. Yeah, slugs are tough to beat when they get going. I had them real bad here a couple of years when we had wet weather, and after it just cleared, it was all rose bushes and overgrown, and the slugs were all over that, and so when I cleared it and planted, they were coming up and just eating everything. Yeah, slave drivers. Yeah, okay, so it looks like I gotta go. We got a hard drive crash on a server, so I guess I gotta roll out. Well, thanks for stopping in, Mimsy. Sorry to jump out. But I gotta go take care of this because everything's an emergency in the IT world. Yeah, we had that wetness last fall. Okay, Mimsy, take care. Thanks for stopping in. Have a good evening. Thanks everyone who watched the Pharmacy Seeds Network, Farmers and Gardeners Net. Everyone have a great evening. The stream will be up later on.